Welcome to another episode of the Quip Corners Book Corner. This is my guest's first time here, but we'll see. Hopefully, it won't be her last. You'll see her bio right after this, and please join us in the Quip Corner to learn more about her and her book. Welcome to the Quip Corners Book Corner, Adeola.
Thank you very much, Ada.
I'm delighted that we could make this work. I mean, this is your first time here, but hopefully it won't be your last time.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm excited. Thank you for having me and giving me this invitation.
Yes. So we're here to talk about your book, Connecting the Dots.
Yes.
When I saw the title, it took me back to, those puzzles we have where you connect the dots and then a picture shows up. So please tell us, what is the backstory? What made you write this book? And what is the story behind the title of the book?
Wow, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. And by the way, I must congratulate you for the great work we are doing, showcasing brilliant minds and great works that is being published out there. Because when you look at what we are doing, it's like giving more voice, giving more light, and giving more footing to many of great minds that have taken time to put their thoughts, their philosophies, and their life's experience together. And so thank you very much. We appreciate you. Back to the question you just asked. There is, without missing word, there is actually a story behind.
Okay.
And I would just say, in a way, like you can imagine the connecting the dots in form of you traveling. And when you know the role of a GPS, when you know that you have a trip to make and you've never been there. And that is the idea about how life is. Like so many of us, when we travel on this path, this journey called life, we're never given a direct, map or guide that's going to say, just move from here. Once you get here, there's going to be a detour. Make sure you don't fall on it. Get up, then move this. So it's like everybody's here and life is playing out and you don't just. So I found myself at a particular point in my life when it was as if my life was having no meaning. I was losing what the definition of what it truly means to live was. And in the midst of that confusion and in that trepidation too, is this all that my life is all about? Or how long will I continue to wait for validation, for other people's approval before I can actually activate and give that validation to what I have inside? It was just at that break that this book, Connecting the Dots, was born, because it was a state where I finally got to a place called stop. And down there, it was like a divine reset, redirection to, wait a minute, your life can actually be meaningful if you can locate the GPS. And in this case, our life GPS is in the hand of our maker, who actually is the one that gave us the life and everything from the beginning. So if you can sit down, reset, refocus, readjust, and just come back inside, you will get the direction. And once you're able to have the GPS, then the journey can be so easy and it can make sense. It can make me. And when you look at this, it is when you are able to identify your life's purpose, your vision, and how it affects others. That is the beginning of the meaning that I got when I applied my sense to go back to the maker of my life to ask him how I can navigate further. And it has been a wonderful journey ever since then.
Wow. Wow. You know, When you talked about the GPS, I know that I've heard people, break out that acronym to say it's God's positioning system. Yeah. And I
Yeah,
like how you talked about going back to the maker because he's the one who knows his purpose for our lives. So we might as well go back to him and, get the guidance. Um, I talked to another author who wrote a book titled Divine Direction. And she was talking about, once again, getting direction from God, looking above for direction and looking in five, essentially five different ways for direction. When you think about your book, Connecting the Dots, how do you, well, you're going to read from your book for us in a bit, but how do people reset, because at least I know that for me, sometimes there's a struggle for me. I want to go this way, but it's not working. So how do people, to your point, come to their senses? What are some of the tips you can give for that, please?
awesome. Thank you very much. So I'm going to use my story and how I was able to navigate further. It's like you trying to get to from point A to B. And it's like for you already have a premonition of how it is going to happen. How once I finish college, I'm going to get the best job in this career, in this so and so, And then once by the second year, when I've made my dollars and whatever, then I'm going to get married and I'm having my kids and you just have all those things. And when the shock start coming, in my own case, it started even from entering into college because I didn't even get to study what I thought of all my years of life of dream studying. And that can be a shocker for some people. Like, oh,
Yes.
because I didn't get to study medicine, I didn't get to study this and that. And you can imagine some of those stereotypes and narratives that have been told from our environment, from our upbringing, that tells us if
Yes.
you don't end up reading or studying any of this for what have you,
You're not worth
then you are
anything.
nowhere to be found. But
Yes.
today now everything is changing, and that is the start. One of the things that about life, that life is always in cycle and it's always moving. And when certain things don't happen the way, what do you do? Do you
Mm-hmm.
fold your hand back and keep moaning and keep wailing and keep nagging, complaining, criticizing, and comparing why your life is not adding up because you never got chance to study that particular, or you never got to attend that Ivory Coast University, or you never got to travel, or so many excuses that we keep adding and adding to justify the reason why
Mm-hmm.
we are not where we ought to be. And sometimes God allowed those things so that He can get our attention so we could see. So, for example, what I was sharing about my story, I've tried so many certification in the past and I wanted because I've always loved the idea of coaching. I just saw myself as a relational being and I love it more when I'm able to contribute to others with the little that I've had that is helping me, make the shift and the difference in my life. So along that line, I had did some certification to have myself in the agile coaching world and position everything. And then when I kept writing the exams, and sometimes I passed. That's not even the issue. Then this interview session was common. I went through the first round, second round, then it just became like a routine. The
Mm-hmm.
third round, I never got any call again, and that's the end. So it became
The
like,
cycle.
is is this what I'm settling for? And
Mm.
month here in, or the ninth month, I had to sit down and have a conversation with myself like,
Mm.
what's happening? What is next? So, what is the communication? And the irony of this was that some people were coming to me for coaching and they are paying me in the midst of my
All this
so then
happening. Yeah.
yeah. So then sometimes I told my husband, I said, I'm no longer applying. Like, if you look at the biblical numerology, it's the nine signify the number of, the months of conception, at least if you are
Yes.
pregnant. And at this ninth month, if this thing is not coming, because it's
Time of
almost,
life.
almost over 9 months, then I told
Yes.
myself that there's something in that I have not gotten that I need to press in to get. So in the midst of that, just waiting and trying to see, I had that and divine inspiration to package my all these stories and all the videos that I've done, because I have a YouTube channel. Since the time that I've always loved the idea of coaching, I started a YouTube channel that I was just coaching and
Oh,
teaching and training. So I
nice.
decided to change the format. That, wait a minute, okay, some of these things that I've taught, let me put them together as a book. And then, so it was just like, okay, something to just distract me away from what actually I was just head
Chasing.
over heels falling for, and I was not getting the result. And it was as if God was just using that to just get my attention, and because it was like an inspiration to move away from what everybody is kind of running after. And lo and behold, I finished my book 2022 and got it published 2023, first day of the year. And so between September and October and November, December that year, I finished. I finished
Nice.
and then I decided to do a book launch. And in that space of writing, everything that I would tell you happened from that time was just the summary of what it means when you are ready to change and you are ready to believe the fact that life is not about just believing that what you see is all that is available. That if you can change the perspective, the lens at which you see life, you will eventually see that they're even in the space of people you think they don't need you, they are actually looking for you. Because at the
Mm.
end of the day, what I now happen to be doing, by virtue of what I love to do now, I position myself as a life coach and niching down to help Africans in diaspora see the need why they should tell their stories and compile their lessons and their philosophies life through books. Because at the end of my book launch, each and every one of those colleagues of mine that were in the study group together, that were having that coaching and certification for the agile position that I just mentioned, they got the inspiration to also write their book. And many of them became my clients
Oh,
by virtue of that simple,
oh,
singular decision to turn back and see what I'm missing out. So
nice.
I said that to say that every one of us, we can never ever see with the same eyes that we are looking. If we want to see better, then we have to change the perspective through which we are, with the meaning we are giving to what we are seeing. Because when we do that, we'll be able to see that life actually can be better and can be
Mhm.
meaningful for us if we can locate what we can do differently to help our world.
Wow. Wow. That is loaded. So if you are just telling me this, I can only imagine what's in your book. Can you read something from your book to us, please?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm even going to start with what I have as the quote that I put in front of the book. It
Okay.
says, "You only live once,
Mm-hmm.
but if you do it right,
Once is enough.
once is enough," by
Yes.
Mae West. That quote is so powerful
It's
for me.
powerful. It's true.
So powerful
Yes.
because a lot of people are living through life and they don't really know what it means.
Mm.
And in that space of living, when you don't have the knowledge of how to make sense of your life, of your purpose, and of your vision, which inversely is a condition that you can only get when you ask the maker of the life. You know, you will
Mm-hmm.
look at life while life is in circle. Like before you know we are in fall, before you know winter setting, before you know we go into, you know, and another season comes in, and before you know
Spring,
it's,
summer, yes, and
you
it
know,
just continues going.
everything.
Yeah.
So that tells us something, that the God that we serve is a God of season. And then when
Yes,
you
it
look at
is.
your life and there's something not adding up, it means you are in a particular season. And then look at what you are doing. If what you are doing is not producing, then maybe you need to just pay attention to see maybe that season is going to pass. And you're
Mm.
able to just keep on tweaking and readjusting and relearning, unlearning, and just believing. And in that space of you just not folding your hands saying it because it's not working, and then the past has always been the case and it's always going to be, and you refuse to accept that tragedy, to accept that for yourself, you will be able to see what living actually means, because you will be able to bring to pass these 5 characteristics of living things, which is summarizing many of us that back home in Africa, I remember my elementary, secondary school days when we were taught Mr. Niger D, that the purpose of, every living thing, movement, you can, you know, I want to put it in a summary. So when you see somebody that is alive, they can breathe, they can eat, they can move, they can have ability to feel, sensitive to external stimuli. So when certain things happen, there's a way we are meant to react. And when we don't react in a way that's making us to believe that the end has come, we will definitely change that season to the new season and to the next season that will bring our good. And it's all about focus and consistency in whatever we are found doing that has worked. That is where I want to stop with that. Many of us, certain things that are not working in our life, it is a distraction by the enemy from us to seeing what actually is working or has worked. If we can just stop focusing on those aspects of our life that is not working and put up the enough stamina and momentum and energy to begin to do more of those things that is working, that has worked, that people are at one point or the other appreciated or loved, you will begin to see how your life become meaningful. And that is the meaning of living your life once, associating with those things that makes meaning, that is making a difference in the life of people that are around you. And that is the meaning of what I believe to truly live.
Thank you. That has really expounded that quote. So I know your book is available on Amazon. Where
Yes,
else
it
can
is.
people get copies from?
Okay, so I have my website,
Okay,
lodataconsulting.com. I have the book on Amazon. Also, like you have rightly mentioned, I have both the ebook and the paperback. So
nice.
those are the two platforms, except on Africa, but it's just in some localized uh bookshop. So
Okay,
those are the two places, on my website and also on Amazon.
okay. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining me in the Quip Corners Book Corner and just loading
Yeah,
it up. I really appreciate it.
thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. God
Glad to be
bless
here.
you.
Yeah.
And we've agreed that you'll be back, Abby.
Awesome. I'm ever ready. Let me know.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks again. I appreciate it. Now, what was that? It was connecting the dots, understanding the dots, reassessing, readjusting, and relaunching. Yes, that was a lot. But truly, like the quote says, we live just once. And if we do it right, once is enough. I look forward to reading your comments on this video, and please get copies of this book. It is a life-changing book. God bless you. Did you notice the link to the conversation we had on divine direction? These books are just connecting. The dots are connecting. Well, okay. Bye. Real bye for now. God bless you. Bye now.